Hello and welcome to the Mindful Business Podcast. I'm Janae. I'm a brand strategist and designer who is navigating the world of business ownership while trying to prioritize my mental and physical health. This podcast is about exploring the ways in which we approach our work and our lives as business owners with the intention to craft a business that serves you rather than consumes you. So if you're tired of the hustle and grind culture and want to build a business that fits into your life and not the other way around, then these are the conversations for you. Welcome to the first episode of the Mindful Business Podcast. I am very excited to finally be starting this. This podcast has been a brainchild for the better part of a year. I want to start with explaining a little bit about me and my background and my history and how I got to this point of wanting to have these conversations and why it's so important to me. I got my first job in Durban. I grew up in Durban, and my job was at an agency as a designer. So it was high pressure, a lot of work, long hours, and little pay, which is fine for a first job, pay your dues and all that. But I was there for a couple months when I got offered a job up in Joburg, which is where I'm still based. Everyone thinks I'm based in Cape Town, which I get. I think a lot of my clients are in Cape Town, and maybe that's why. But for the record, I'm based in Joburg. So I moved up here, and that was quite a shift, right? Because Durban is kind of coastal, laid back, a little bit more chill. And Joburg is this hustle and grind city where everyone's on a mission and always got something to do. I was just getting used to that. And about 6 months in, just as I felt like I was getting the hang of things, COVID happened. And like a lot of us, I was plunged into not having a job and not having the income that I was used to. And I had bills and rent to pay. But luckily for me, I had my design skills. So I started freelancing. I was helping people create logos and websites. A lot of people were going online at the time, so that was kind of a nice channel for me to make a little bit of money. So that's what I did for about a year. I ended up building a bit of a mini portfolio, but more than that, I kind of got sparked onto this thing of I can freelance, I can work for myself, and I can make my own money, and I can be a little bit more in charge of my time and what my days look like. And that was very appealing to me. But I wasn't ready to become a freelancer just yet. I had a lot that I still needed to learn. So I went back into the corporate world as a marketing assistant in the finance sector. And I'm so grateful that I did that because I learned so much in that kind of environment. I learned about sales and business structures and business processes and pivoting constantly in business. So that year really, really taught me a lot. But I did start to struggle quite a lot with my mental health as well. I was working remotely at the time. I wasn't really interacting with a lot of people during the week. I wasn't really leaving the house unless I had to go buy groceries. And it was winter, so it was cold and I didn't want to go anywhere. I started searching for resources. I love self-help and education, if you can't tell. I was looking for books and YouTube videos and podcasts to try and help me get me out of that low place that I was very, very quickly entering. And I stumbled across this course. It's a 6-week online course called The Science of Wellbeing. It's hosted by a professor, I think she's a professor, called Laurie Santos. I love her. She also hosts a podcast called The Happiness Lab, which I would highly recommend if you don't want to do a whole full 6-week course. This podcast is amazing. Lots of valuable tips, lots of coping mechanisms, and just lots of insight, like scientific-based insight, which I loved. I did the 6-week course, and it changed. I don't want to say everything to be dramatic, but it did. It changed everything at the time, and it changed my perspective. It changed how I understand my brain and how our minds work, and prioritizing experiences over things and crafting your life in a way that fuels your happiness and your personal goals. So it really inspired me. And it inspired me to the point that I decided that I couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't work in the corporate space, at least in that particular job as well. I wasn't creatively fulfilled, which is a big thing for someone as a creative. Anyway, so this course inspired me. And I decided that it was time now. I had built up a bit of a financial cushion, which was about 3 or 4 months worth of my rent, just in case my venture didn't work out. And I want to make sure that it's clear and understood, and I'm sure most people understand this too, that there's not often a right time to take the plan. There's always some kind of risk involved. You can plan and prepare and strategize for years and never feel like you're ready. And a lot of people do that, right? A lot of us have business ideas that we want to launch, but we overthink it to the point that we never allow ourselves permission to try. Because there's always a risk. There's always a risk it's going to fail. Even now, I've been in business for 5 years. Touch wood, it's not going to fail, but you never know how it's going to happen. But at some point, you've got to take the plunge and you've got to back yourself and trust in the research and planning that you've done. So that's what I did. In 2021, in September, I took the plunge. And it was exciting and terrifying. And it was slow, obviously, to take off. It took time, but I built up slow momentum, and I'm very grateful for that. It's allowed me to have amazing experiences and work with wonderful people and make friends as well. But the main thing, as why I'm segueing into this as well, is social media and my algorithm changed within a week of me putting myself out online, hashtag business owner, all those things. My algorithm shifted to other business owners, other entrepreneurs, other people who are self-employed. And there was this phrase at the time, at least, it's not, I don't think it's as big of a thing now, but the concept is still quite big. And the phrase was, I quit my 9 to 5 and now I work 24/7. And I hated this. I hated it for a few reasons. One was that was not aligned to why I quit my 9 to 5. I did not want to work 24/7. I wanted to work less. I wanted to be able to pay my bills and live the lifestyle I was living without sitting at my desk for 8-9 hours straight. The idea that quitting your 9 to 5 but then having to work 3 times as much was so far off of the goals that I had in mind. The thing that I had a problem with more was that it was almost like this boast, right? It was, I'm working 3 times harder than you, and I'm working to the point that I'm burnt out and I don't have time for my friends or my family or myself. But my business is a success. And it made me feel guilty because I wasn't working 9 to 5. I was working 9 to 3 maybe or something like that. Like I was trying to live the lifestyle where I had more autonomy with my time and more flexibility and more freedom to do other things that I love, not just the work that I love. Because I think that's important. And it started to make me feel guilty for not doing that. And it started to make me feel like I wasn't a successful business owner, which is nonsense, because who the heck decides what a successful business owner looks like? Literally only you can. If you have business goals, which we all should, and benchmarks and targets that we want to reach, if we're reaching them, we are a success. You can't tell me that I'm not a success because I wasn't working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. Ridiculous. So you can tell I'm still worked up about this. So that was what was bugging me. And I mean, that was what, 4 years ago? But the concept is still there. Business owners are still stressed and burnt out and overwhelmed and overworking themselves and shocking work-life balance. I've got some statistics that I want to read out quickly as well. Now, bear in mind, these statistics I got from the internet, obviously, but they're US based, right? Trying to find research and articles and statistics on the mental health of business owners and entrepreneurs in South Africa proved really hard. So if anyone knows of resources or articles that they can recommend where I can find more information, please share that with me. I am probably going to do a poll of our own as well, just to get a gauge on what it is that we're dealing with as business owners in South Africa and entrepreneurs in the country. But these are the stats. 88% of entrepreneurs struggle with at least one mental health issue. 50% of entrepreneurs struggle with anxiety. 35% struggle with burnout. 27% have a poor work-life balance. And some of the mental health issues that they face are anxiety, high stress, financial worries, burnout, and imposter syndrome. Now, these are US-based. But I will bet money that South African business owners and entrepreneurs like myself, because I am part of that statistic, not literally, but like I relate to a lot of that statistic, is they struggle with the same thing, if not worse. And those numbers are staggering. They are they're heartbreaking, really, because I don't think that anyone starts a business or becomes an entrepreneur with that goal in mind. None of us have this dream of owning a business so I can have anxiety or a poor work-life balance. I think we started because either we want to be our own bosses and have more freedom and more time and more flexibility, or we have a dream and a vision for what we want to do for other people. So the fact that those are the statistics that could potentially come with our dreams and our goals is sad. But as the eternal optimist that I am, and you'll see this regularly, I always try and find the positive spin on things or the silver lining or whatever. I think that it's still possible, right? And this is why, even just in the work I have with my clients and the work I do with my clients, I'm constantly trying to strategize ways in which we can find this balance and you can still find joy in the struggles. Because business ownership is hard. There are challenges left, right, and center. But I think that there's still pockets of joy and wonderful that we can find in the whole experience. I'm not saying it's easy, but I do think it's possible. And that's what I want to be speaking more about. To start with, it's unlearning this hustle and grind narrative that we've been taught that business ownership should look like. I don't know who gets to decide what business ownership should look like, but that's not what I think my business ownership or freelance situation should look like. I have a very specific idea of what I want for my life, and it's not that. So I want to be having more conversations and creating more of a space for people to talk about this, because even just working with my clients, I see this all the time. I see them in these kind of statistics where they are so stressed and they're putting pressure on themselves that no one else is putting on them other than the societal pressure of being a business owner and what's expected of you. And I want to change that. I want to change what's expected of you, because nothing is expected of you. You create your own expectations of yourself. I'm still living it. I'm still learning it. I'm definitely not an expert in much of this, but what I have done is I've got other experts that I think could add value to these conversations to come in and speak to us as well. So we've got a bunch of topics lined up for the next couple months, and we're going to have psychologists, dietitians, breathwork coaches, financial advisors. What else have I said? A bunch of people coming in and giving us practical, scientifically based, researched advice on how we can strike this work-life balance a little bit better and craft our particular lifestyle with business, mental health, and physical health in mind. We are building mindful businesses, hence the name of the podcast. So thank you for being here in the beginning. I really hope that we can have more conversations. I want this to be a debate. If you disagree with me, great. Let's chat. Spam my comments. Great for the algorithm. But I want to hear opinions. I want to hear what you're struggling with. I want to hear what you want advice on. And even if you just want to be part of a community or part of conversations that make you feel like you're not insane or alone for feeling the way you're feeling as a business owner, great. If you get any of that from the conversations that we're going to have, then I would be happy. So thank you for being here from the beginning. I'm excited to get going. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Business Podcast. If this resonates with you, please follow along, share it with a friend or a family member who you think could benefit from it. Leave a review, a comment, a question. I'd love to hear from you. What are you struggling with? What do you want to know about? Also, don't forget to take a break today. You're allowed to go at your own pace. See you next time.